the song the stars will sing when we end. Once in a time beyond time, when the sky was still young and the stars whispered secrets to one another, there was a song. Not just any song. This was the melody the stars would sing when all things came to an end. No living soul had ever heard it, for it was not meant for mortal ears. But the stars, in their ancient wisdom, knew that one day when the world had breathed its last, they would sing this song as a lullaby for the universe. This is the story of how one curious child almost heard it. Her name was Lira, and she lived in a small village at the edge of a great dark forest. Every night she would climb onto the roof of her house and stare at the sky, counting the stars and wondering what they were saying to each other. The villagers told her that the stars were just balls of fire, far away in the blackness of space, but Lira knew better. She had seen them flicker in patterns, as if they were speaking. One evening, as she lay on the roof, an old traveler passed through the village. He was bent with age, his hair as white as moonlight, and his eyes held the depth of the night itself. He saw Lira gazing upward and smiled. "You listen to them too, don't you?" he asked. Lira nodded. "But I don't understand what they're saying." The old man sat beside her. "The stars speak in a language older than time. They sing of beginnings and endings, of joy and sorrow. But there is one song they keep hidden, the last song they will ever sing, when all things fade away." Lira's eyes widened. "Can anyone hear it?" The old man shook his head. "No living thing is meant to hear it. It is a song of farewell, and those who hear it must say goodbye to everything they know." But Lira was stubborn. "I want to hear it," she said. The old man sighed. "If you truly wish to try, you must journey to the highest peak of the Whispering Mountains. There, at midnight, when the sky is clear, the stars come closest to the earth. But be warned. Many have sought the song, and none have returned unchanged." Lira did not hesitate. The very next morning, she packed a small bag with bread, a flask of water, and a warm cloak. She kissed her parents goodbye, though she did not tell them where she was going, and set off toward the distant mountains. The journey was long and hard. She walked through fields of tall grass that whispered in the wind, crossed rivers so cold they stole her breath, and climbed hills so steep her legs burned with effort. But she did not stop. At last, after many days, she reached the base of the Whispering Mountains. They rose like giants, their peaks hidden in clouds. Lira began to climb. The rocks were sharp, the air thin, and more than once she slipped, scraping her hands and knees. But she kept going. When night fell, she was near the top. The sky was clear, and the stars shone brighter than she had ever seen. She sat on a flat stone, catching her breath, and waited for midnight. The moment came. The wind stilled. The world grew quiet. And then she heard it. At first it was just a hum, so soft she thought it might be the wind. But then it grew, weaving into a melody that was both beautiful and heartbreaking. It was a song of endings, yes, but also of peace. It spoke of tired worlds resting at last, of stories finishing their final chapters, of love that never truly faded. Tears streamed down Lira's face. She wanted to stay and listen forever, but then she remembered the old man's warning. This song was not for the living. If she listened too long, she would forget the world she came from. With all her strength, she covered her ears and turned away. The song faded, though its echo lingered in her heart. When she returned to her village, she was different. She still smiled, still laughed, but sometimes, when she looked at the stars, she would grow quiet. The villagers noticed, but they never asked why. Years passed. Lira grew into a woman, then an elder. On the last night of her life, as she lay in her bed, she opened her window and looked at the sky one final time. The stars seemed brighter than ever. And then, very softly, she heard the song again. But this time she did not turn away. The stars sang her to sleep, and when the morning came, she was gone. Some say that, if you listen closely on a quiet night, you can still hear the echo of that song, not as a warning but as a promise, that even when things end, there is beauty in the stillness. And so, the stars keep singing, waiting for the day when all things will rest, and their final melody will fill the silence. But until then, they whisper. And sometimes, if you are very still, you might hear them too.